It's time for the Nitro project, episode 2. I've put about 10 tanks of fuel through the HPI Bullet, and as you can see it's quite dirty here on the side of the body there. You might be able to see all the dirt and stuff. And also there's fuel and oil all over the chassis and all the bits, and need to do some maintenance anyway because I've put 10 tanks through it, so I need to see if there's any wear, any damaged bits and stuff like that. So we shall get started with the Nitro project, episode 2. First thing to do is take all the wheels off. See this, I've got 2 big complaints about this car. They're not major things, they're just little things that have annoyed me quite a lot. So the first one is this exhaust, and this wheel was originally on the back, and if you missed my 500 subscriber video, you can see that this wheel is chrome, whereas the rest, I'll take another one off for you, the rest were black. They were, I think they were probably sprayed black, and with them being on the back, they were meant to be black. This one was on the back for the tuning video, and it's losing its paint already because the oil in the fuel is actually taking off the paint from the wheels, because the exhaust here, it's pointing back like that, so the oil and fuel is spitting out of the exhaust that way, and it's going all over the place. So that's one thing I'm going to be sorting out in this episode. Just take the other 2 wheels off. And the other complaint I have is this battery receiver housing just here. It only takes four AA's to actually run the vehicle, to run the 2 servos and the receiver, but it takes 6 screws to undo it to change the batteries, which is a bit weird and stupid, I think, because it's quite a lot of effort just to change 4 AA batteries. So I should hopefully be upgrading that soon, try and get a custom made battery to fit in there, so I don't have to keep putting AA's in it. I can just put a normal battery pack in it. So that's the colour the wheels are meant to be, and that's the colour of the front one now, just because of the fuel spitting back onto the wheel. So I'm going to swap all the tyres around and make sure they're all chrome instead of silvery chrome. No, make sure they're all chrome instead of black. So they're my complaints, but overall this is an awesome RC. Really, really like it. And I think I'm going to take the airbox off as well. I need a screwdriver. Hang on. Taking the air filter off, air filter housing, and that's the filter after 4 tanks of fuel, 4 or 5 tanks of fuel. You meant to change the oil after every tank, but that seems a bit stupid, and I don't want to be spending 10 minutes cleaning it and changing the air filter oil after every run. It doesn't make sense after every tank. So, but that's not too bad, not too much dirt in there, so I'll also clean that as well, put some new oil in there, and it'll be ready to go. So put that off to the side. What else do we need to do? So I also have a new glow plug from HPI. This is a R5 plug for, I think it's meant for cold weather. So I'm going to use my big spanner here that came with the starter kit to take the glow plug out. You usually do it with spark plugs with cars. If you you break the engine in, you change the spark plugs, and you can see this one's quite black anyway. I'm going to be able to see that. I don't think it's going to focus, but the end is quite blackened, so I'll just stick a new one in there. It wasn't that expensive anyway. I need to get the washer out as well. It's a little spacer, I think it's a copper spacer or a brass spacer. Yeah, let's see if it'll fall out. There it is. Got it. Okay, so we'll get started on the shocks. Now I've got a upgrade, well not an upgrade, but a protector for the shocks. These are shock socks. and they wrap around the spring. So I've got to take the shocks apart, wrap these around the spring, put them back together, and they should hopefully protect the spring and the shaft from any gravel or dirt and wear that's going to happen. So I shall remove all 8 shocks now. Seven of the 8 shocks are now clean, and I've got the shock socks on them. They're really easy to put on. I'll quickly show you now. So you've got the retainer at the top. You put that on the shock first, like that. You get the spring, and you wind it into the sock. They're just like a stretchy material. So you get that in the hole. Just wind it in. Like that. Pull it over the end. It's a little bit tricky because sometimes it winds itself back down. There you go. Then you tuck one end in, place the shock over there like that, and then you pull the spring down on the other end and tuck that bit of the sock in. Sometimes you need a bit of extra material just to hold it down there. You get your bottom retainer, place that on, and let the spring go. Nope. Doing it the wrong way, that's why. Like that. There you go. That's a shock sock, and it just protects the shaft of the shock just from corrosion and wear, and keeps the shocks nice and clean. And it's got some really simple instructions with it as well. Really simple, nicely laid out. So now I'm going to leave those shocks off for now. Just place them to one side, and we're going to start with taking the actual engine out, just so we can have a look at the clutch, take the exhaust off, clean the exhaust, and just have a general tidy around. First thing I'm going to do is remove the fuel lines. They've got no fuel in them, so nothing's going to drip out. And they're really easy to position back in as well because they're so flexible. So just get rid of the fuel lines. That's them removed. And then we shall also go to the bottom. Let's use my new dynamite screwdriver as well. You can see 4 mounting holes there, 4 mounting screws. So, oh, blimey, they're tight. That's one. The second one here. That one's better. Another one. Oh, it's tight again. There you go. You can see a few scrapes on the bottom, but it's always going to get that, so I'm not too concerned. And fourth one. Just there. That's the engine free. There's another screw there holding the exhaust. It's like a stabilizer down there, so I need to get a screwdriver. Hold it in place and just undo it. There's a bolt. I can see a thing on top. There you go. Hold that. It's a bit fiddly. There we go. It's got it. Just doing the screwdriver. should be the engine free. Got a throttle linkage as well, forgot about that. So if we turn it around, now we can just see, just in there, you probably can't see it, but there's a little sort of attachment there, so I need to take that off as well. It's oil everywhere, it's all getting over my hands, it's horrible. I've got a solution to that, I'll show you later. Come on. It should come off now. Come off. It's nearly free. I shall do this off camera. That's the engine removed. Had to remove the little sort of adjuster thing on the, you can see it just there. That was attached at the end of the throttle linkage to the servo, so I've taken that off. Probably not the way you meant to do it, but I don't really care. Got the engine out anyway. That's the G3.0 engine from HPI, and there's, you probably can't see it, but there's oil all over it, and it's a bit minging, so I'm going to give that a clean. Also got the exhaust off just here. So that needs a good clean as well. There's oil all over there, it's all minging. And there's the chassis without the engine. There's bits of gravel and grit and dirt in there, so I'll give that a clean as well. So now it gives me a good chance to have a look at the brake pads, see if they're all okay. Have a look at the wear on the spur gear and the pinion gear. And I may also take the clutch off to see how that's doing. Or have a look at the clutch, take the clutch bell off, have a look at the clutch. So yeah, I shall be back with a clean RC and putting it all back together. See you in a bit. I've given the engine a good wipe down. It's all nice and clean now. So I'm going to put in the new glow plug, just here. It's not black at all, it's nice and shiny. You can probably tell the difference just there. Forget the old one. There you go, you can see the difference there. One's quite black and the other one's nice and shiny. So I'll put that in there. Before I do, I'll put some after run oil in there, which helps lubricate the engine after a run and helps start it up the next time you use it. So I'm going to put a few drops of this in the engine. So drop it in. That's one, that's two, that's three. There you go, put 3 drops in. You crank it over just to let it all settle around. Then you put the glow plug in, and that's it. And then I can just leave the engine out and just clean the chassis, and then I can put it back in and it'll be ready to go for the next run. And you've got to remember, when you put the glow plug in, don't do it up too tight, otherwise you'll strip out the thread from the head and you'll have to get a new one. So just be careful when you tighten it up. That's the engine ready to go for next time. So now we'll move on to the exhaust. To solve the problem of oil getting everywhere, I've got this, which is a bit of radiator hosing I got off eBay. It's 8mm diameter, which is the same as the exhaust that did come out of there, and I've just attached it to there, so that'll sit on there and direct oil to the floor rather than backwards at the same level as the wheel, so it should reduce the amount of oil getting all over the bullet. So yeah, that's the exhaust fix. It's a really bad idea of HPI to have the exhaust pointing straight outwards horizontally, but that fix should hopefully help the oil situation that we've got. So now that that and the engine are all sorted, we can put it all back together. It's the following weekend and I'm finally going to finish off the maintenance of my HPI Bullet. I've given it a quick clean all over with a Swarfega wipe. It's really good at degreasing oil and stuff. So I've cleaned all the arms, I've taken the dog bones out and put some bearing grease in there just to protect them a little bit. So it's all clean. and I've also tidied the aerial as well so it's not poking up. So all I'm going to do now is fit the shocks and it should be ready to go for another run. That's the shocks on with the new shock socks. Look really good. You could get them in orange, but the orange wouldn't match that there, so I just thought I'd get black. Blend in a lot better. So yeah. Final thing to do is just to clean the air filter and put some new air filter oil on. So I'll quickly show you that now, just for the guys who don't know how to do that. And then we'll be ready to put the wheels on and go run this again. So we'll go clean this now. Okay, so this is the air filter. It's not too dirty, but it still needs to clean it anyway. So if you've got some spare fuel left, like I've got, only got a little bit in the bottom, unscrew that and just pour a little bit on. Soak it up in and just give it a squeeze around. Pour a bit more on. And there you go, it's a bit whiter now. So all we need to do is just let that dry. Probably in a bit of kitchen towel or something. And then put some new air filter oil on. It's really simple to clean it. Done. Now that it's dry, I'm going to put it in this little grip seal bag I've got. And this is the one I specifically used to put the air filter oil on. So there's still a little bit in there. So this is the air filter oil from HPI. It's not very expensive. So squidge a good load of that in, close the bag and just massage it around. It's best to get all the air out of the bag actually. There you go. And then just squidge it around so it's evenly coated. Sorry about the rustling. So that's pretty well evenly coated. Looks okay. So we'll put it back into the air filter housing. You don't want to get oil all over your hands because it does tend to stay there for a while. That's that. Put that over the top. And then it's just held in with one screw. So I'll attach that to the bullet now. Well, that was really easy actually. I was expecting it to be quite difficult, being as I haven't actually built this. It was ready to run. And if you've got a kit, you generally know how things go together. But yeah, it was really easy to take the shocks off and I pretty much had everything out. So really impressed with it. So that's it. It's all clean, ready for another run. Time to get it dirty again. And if you've got any questions or comments, leave them down below, as well as any feedback that you have about, or any tips or tricks you have about the HPI Bullet. I shall see you next time on RC Projects.